Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
There, hi. A little bit late there, I think. How you doing? Welcome to the show. It's the last day of August. How the hell did that happen? It's the last day of a 20-year war, too. How the hell did that happen? And I think it's Tuesday, which means Susan should be on the line.
Well, you're
Hello?
lucky I'm here.
Okay. All right. She did not get distracted today.
I didn't. I mean, I threatened to multiple times, and each time I yanked myself back.
Yeah.
I had to remind myself it was Tuesday 3 times this morning. So.
Well, that would be more difficult, just one day a week. I mean, it really would be, especially in these days when a lot of us don't know what day it is often, you know?
Right, and I'm hopping back and forth so much that
you don't know where you are. You
right.
don't know what day it is. Where are you, by the way?
Today I am in Green Bay with our mother.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, that's because I came here yesterday.
Okay. Hell knows. Well, I'm glad.
Yes.
Okay. So, yesterday was one of those days that if you were in charge of a newspaper or a news show, you could really be have gone insane knowing what's the lead story. I mean, you had the hurricane. You had the end of the longest war in American history. And, normally you would think at the end of a war in American history, we should have been outside popping champagne corks or something. But that's not the way these kinds of wars end.
Well, we didn't win this war.
That's right, but we haven't won a war. We won one little war since World War II. But since World War II, we have not won a war. We are a nation that loses wars. So why do we keep doing them? The one little war we won was the one, and I've mentioned this, I think it was called Desert Storm,
right.
Called it something. It lasted 2 weeks. And as far as I know, I don't think anybody died, at least on our side. I don't. It had a specific mission. It did the mission and it stopped.
Well, every time we decide that we can nation build, that we can totally ignore the culture that's in situ, and just put our own in place, that doesn't work. And it's just our arrogance that assumes that our way is the best for them.
It's beyond me. How can we have hubris when we keep making the same mistake over and over? Someone who can't learn from their mistakes is an idiot and should not be hubristic.
Well, I agree, but I also think that the reason that we were there for 20 years is that the only way out was what we just witnessed. And nobody was willing to have that happen on their watch, and Biden did it. And he's taken the heat for it from absolutely everybody. And
everybody.
And what I have to say about that is, when it ended, I defy anyone to tell me how this was not going to be how it ended. If you are not the victor, how do you tidily leave?
Yeah. Well, I keep saying the same thing over and over again. I credit Fareed Zakaria. There is no elegant way to lose a war. And
that's right.
The loser is always on the run. I'm sorry, you're on the run. Even if it didn't appear we were on the run.
Of course.
And so it ain't tight. Anyway, all these people. yesterday I meant to get something into the show and I didn't have a chance to do it. I was so angry seeing this stuff where, the people who get their news not from the same sources that we do, but that are in that, right-wing universe, they were hearing from members of Congress and on Twitter and all over the place and on their news shows that Joe Biden did not go to Dover Air Force Base. Shut the hell up. I did not go to Dover Air Force Base when the caskets of the fallen came in. Laura,
there's coverage of it, for heaven's sake.
I know. What is the gall?
Well, that combined with that we gave the Taliban $83 billion worth of, which is also that's what was spent since 2001 on training their military. And they're saying that's what, it's not all equipment, it's over, and it's over 20 years and several presidents, but somehow, in Trump land, that's $83 billion that Joe gave the Taliban. I mean, it's just all bull, all the time.
It's just flat out made up crapola. I can't take it.
No, they make stuff up. That's what they do.
Okay. Yesterday, Susan, and I don't know what it was, and I'm sure people listening to the show might have noticed it, but I swear every other sentence I said had fuck in it. And I'm sorry.
You can get like that, sister, and sometimes it's very hard to listen to.
I bet. And I woke up I was in a real state yesterday. I don't know what, I do know what, and that, I guess, was, indicative of the state I was in. But I do want to apologize. I mean, it's unseemly.
It is unseemly.
So here's what I want to say while we're being nice to Joe Biden. I want to say one thing I was thinking the other day, and then it got underscored for me today. He's a good man. He's, I can identify with with him. I don't know how he sleeps at night. For that matter, I don't know how anybody in any of these positions of responsibility and authority sleep at night. I can't sleep at night worrying about all this stuff. And I'm not responsible. How do they sleep? Can you imagine being the president of the United States, putting your head on a pillow and saying, "Good night, darling," to Jill, and then going to sleep?
No. Why do you think they look like that?
How do they sleep?
I don't know.
But they have to sleep.
Well, I don't, and particularly given what the story that you were highlighting, because that was a very difficult meeting for Biden. And the one thing that we know for sure about him is that he feels these things for real. And it must have been very, very, very difficult for him to stand there accepting responsibility from these angry and grieving parents.
Did you just send me a message in the middle of all this?
Uh-huh. I was cheering you up.
One of your grandchildren says WTF?
Uh-huh.
Well, all right. So I'm not much fun in the family. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. But, never mind, this child is under the age of 1. I don't know how that's possible. But
it was the facial expression. That was baby talk.
Oh,
anyway.
Okay. I see. Okay. So, very cute.
Yes, folks, during this conversation, I'm sending my sister pictures of my new granddaughter to cheer her up because she's saying she was in such a lousy mood. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm not so much in a lousy mood today, but so for Biden, I can't imagine yesterday. And I had read that, he was going to meet with the families of these dead young men and women. And I can't even conceive of that. And then I had read that, a quote from one of the grieving parents, this was days ago, that, it sounded like he wanted to kill Biden. He hated his guts, blah, 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 blah. So I'm thinking, how do you, and as it turns out, some of the families refused to meet with him given these times. One can see that. But some who don't agree with him at all did meet with him. And one guy, this is in the Washington Post today. One guy, a guy named Mark Schmidt, whose 20-year-old son, Jared, is one of those who died in that terrorist attack on the airport. At one, he's talking to Biden, but and he even shook his hand. But at one point, he takes out a picture of his son, and he says, "I don't want you to ever forget his name. Do not ever forget his face. And don't you forget the names of the other 12. And take some time to learn their stories." And he said, the only way we know this is he said that to the president, because the reporters are not allowed into these situations. And then he said that Biden he bristled and said, "I do know their stories." And I can see that happening. I can see Biden does get prickly when he's the president, and this guy is talking to him like that. On the other hand, you know what I was thinking? I was talking to somebody yesterday about how Biden is always interminably, and I personally am getting sick of it.
Right, empathic about death and relating it to his own story.
Always to both.
Right.
So it's always back to his son and his loss, which I know is why he is able to understand the pain. But if I hear him one more time say, "I know what you're feeling. He says it all, that you get this feeling like you're sucked into a black hole in the middle of your chest. There's no way out." And then he goes and bow and bow and bow. And I'm thinking, Joe,
it's not about you.
It's got to somebody. But how do you tell him that? I don't see that anyone could tell him that. And frankly, some of the parents yesterday, the ones who didn't particularly like him to start out with, said they were sick and tired of him talking about his son. So I think he must have done it again with them. So he went, "Yes, and my son, Bo."
Mm-hmm.
If you're there to comfort these people whose loss is more raw than yours, and it was as a result of a decision you had made, I think you shut the fuck up. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So Biden, who I like to think of as so empathic or empathetic, I think in this case has a little bit of a blind spot caused by his own pain. I don't know. And as he was leaving, they were ushering these families onto the bus that had brought them to Dover, and some woman screamed at Biden across the tarmac, "I hope you burn in hell."
Jeez. All right. Well, I don't approve of that either.
no. And can you imagine in the right-wing Fox Newsiverse, even with all of the coverage, they said no one from the administration showed up. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's all I have to say. Okay, so I am worried about something. I read this, and maybe you did too, that China has cracked down on children, teenagers, playing video games.
No, I haven't read that.
Listen to this. And they know if you're, it's not like it's like Santa Claus. He knows if you've been.
Right. They know.
They know. They track every one of their citizens and their gizmos, and so they know. And they are limiting Chinese children and adolescents to 1 hour. Wait a minute, was it 1 hour a day on weekends and on holidays? Other than that, they are barred from online gaming on school days.
Yeah, I think good.
An hour on the Listen, but here's why I'm saying that scared me. You know why?
Why?
Because those kids are going to clean our kids' clocks.
That's right.
Well, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, honestly, before the pandemic came along and the kids were homebound, that was absolutely my grandchildren were not allowed to see screens. Because they knew that the minute that it started, it was pretty much uncontrollable. And then the pandemic came along and they were required to school on screens and everything else. And it all just sort of disappeared. But just having the amount of time that they had without them was clearly beneficial because they know how to play and read and do other things.
Yeah. Well, but so most kids, I know they're going to clean our clocks. They want them focused on their schoolwork. They want them getting a good night's sleep. And they've got the authoritarian power to do it. And those little Chinese kids are going to grow up and clean our kids' clocks. We have a caller. Hello.
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 Hey.
Let's try that all again. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When's the American people going to wake up and really think how we got here over in Afghanistan? Let's go after the man that put them in there, George W., and stop going on Biden. Biden didn't do it. George W. did it. Now, I don't know if he voted for this war or not. I don't know. But we're going to have to just rethink this and stop wasting money in the military for useless wars. But we don't get. We just feel we're at the moment. And another thing is, they weren't drafted. They were volunteered to that. Now, that's not their fault that we had stupid leaders to put them in there. But they're all volunteers. So that's a different thing than Vietnam and other wars. But it doesn't make it any better. But I don't know when
No,
the
it
Americans
makes it easier. Wait, it makes it easier to have wars because when the whole country is not invested, when everybody's sons and daughters are not at risk, and you have volunteers, then you can go to war. And by the way, who voted for going into Afghanistan? Every single member of the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House except one representative from California, Barbara Lee. Because you'll recall, we wanted to get the guys who did 9/11 to us. That's why we went in.
Right.
I was for it. But we messed up. We lost whatever vision. Like, technically, that's what we were doing. Then, for certain, when we killed Osama bin Laden, we should have said, all right, we're out of here.
Well, like I said,
wasn't there.
20 years. 20, you haven't figured. We failed over there. We didn't do what we were supposed. We were just babysitting. What's that?
Total failure. It's
Total failure.
We babysit it, and the people don't have the will to fight. We can't make them, so we leave. And I think he handled it perfect. I think
thank God he got us out. I agree.
Evacuated many people.
We were there forever. No one had the courage to do it. He did it.
The rest of them go pound salt, because that's how I feel about them. I'm so sick of these people. I'm sick of the Democrats, too, complaining about it. You know what? Get on board. He did the right thing. He's doing the right thing. It's not going to be perfect, but he did the right thing. But they always do that to a Democrat president or any president. They turn on him.
Yeah.
I can't take that.
Well, Democrats turn out eat their own. Republicans don't.
Yeah, they
generally not. They tend to stick together.
No, I was reading a letter today from this gun group who's just up in arms because Biden has not, forcefully dealt with the gun control yet. And I'm thinking to myself, look, folks, he's had a little on his plate, right? In the first. And I'm going, you people are actually his people. How can you not see that there are priorities? And why can we not, as Democrats, work together for a long game the way the Republicans have been doing? That's why we're here. We're always squabbling. Yeah, let's do my project first.
Why, though, Susan? We're squabbling because Democrats are comprised
of everybody.
A bunch of little tribes of people who care about this, that, the other thing. And, the big tent, that's the Democrats. And so, we're always at each other's throat. Hey, caller,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Henry writes, the Republicans in Fox have learned that they need only say a lie a few times. And if what they say is deplorable enough, it'll catch fire.
Yep.
The lie about Biden not attending the dignified transfer ceremony is viral now. And it goes to show how easily people are manipulated. And people don't vet what they share. They're quick to act on merely a headline or a talking point. We're just a nation hungry for juicy rumors. Well, that anything that solidifies what we want to believe.
Right.
And we're all susceptible to that. I don't mean to suggest. Everywhere you look, speaking of what you were just saying, Susan, what the hell? Think again, and what I said about how does he sleep. You've got, the hurricane. You've got all this and the aftermath of it, which, we still don't quite have our hands around. Then you've got something that's not gotten our attention that much because of everything else, as much as it would if the hurricane wasn't happening. This friggin' wildfires are literally, they're going to change everything. They're going to change our, I think you're going to see a pretty big migration out of California.
Well,
because you can't breathe. You can't breathe there. But that smoke is affecting, obviously, the states that border it, and as we know, can even.
Well, Denver, the people that live in Denver are a mile high, right? So they are in the smoke, and they can't. The mountains that ring that sit around Denver you can't see. The smoke is so thick.
Right. No, you can't see. So all those the big square states, we are going to see, and we were warned of this. This is what climate change was going to bring.
And the Colorado River is dry.
It's drying up. So you're going to have more and more no water because there's no rain. That means drought. Drought means fires. Fires denude hillsides. That means if there is some rain, mudslides. Let's not forget earthquakes. Let's not forget all the other stuff that can happen. And we see the hurricanes intensifying.
Yeah, I mean, climate change ain't in the future, and the effects of it are not in the future, and the dire consequences of it are not in the future. We are living in them right now, and they are only going to get worse. So if this is what I was thinking, if I were ever, to have a second home in a warm place, where would it be? Because I agree. I think it's inappropriate to even visit California at this point. They don't have the resources. They need them for themselves. So no, I'm not going to go in and be a prey. I wouldn't live in Florida. By the way, do you know what they get paid to sit on a school board in Florida?
I wanted to talk to you about that because we mistakenly, you and I, had said, months ago when DeSantis was saying he was going to not pay the members of the school board, we both said, what the hell is he talking about? School board members aren't paid. That's a volunteer position. It was a volunteer position in Missouri. It's a volunteer position here in Pennsylvania.
I mean, not volunteer. It's forbidden by law to pay you, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah. And the same in Wisconsin. So the places we have lived, we never heard of a school board being a paid position.
Much less $46,000 a year?
Well, you're in the wrong state, Sue.
Jeez. I will admit, I never worked harder at a job in my life.
It's a hard job.
Do
it for nothing. And that brings me to another point. Most school board members, I think, are not paid. Florida must be, I don't understand why they're paying them. It's really not. I mean, now that they do, they can't stop. It's really not in the public interest, in the children's interest. It gets people on the board for reasons other than public service. And if ever there is a position that you want someone in there just because I want to do the right thing, that's it. Well, now wait. But a lot of people run for school board because they do have an agenda. Well, you have an agenda, they aren't doing it for the dough. That's all. Doing it for money. That's all, right? They're not doing it for the money, but there increasingly are people who are on school boards all over the country who are quitting. Well, it's hazardous duty. It's like being in the health department business. Yeah, now they're being threatened. It's the anti-masker types and the hysteria around that. They're being threatened. So imagine the hard work you do for nothing, and now you're going to be screamed at. You're going to be spit on. Wait a minute. Let me just roll this back a little bit, because I can assure you that when was I doing this? 20 years ago, 25 years ago? They crowded in there and boy, did they scream at me. It was that is part of it, but it was so that's not new. The venom isn't even new. The fact that they can kill you now because they can infect you while you're doing it is new. And that's what's happening, by the way. A lot of these meetings where they've crowded in, the people are 2 weeks later get a notice that they better quarantine because there are cases coming out of those meetings. Well, all I'm saying is it's scarier now because of what we've become. Oh yeah, because now I didn't really worry that anybody would shoot me, and I think, and now you have to worry about that. You do. Yeah, and. Let's pause for a moment to note the passing of, I guess this is the third anti-vaxxer talk radio host to die of COVID. Mark Bernier, he's gone. There are three people who had radio talk shows who were telling. Well, there's two theological positions on this. Either God loved them all so much that he took them to his bosom or they were doing God's work.
or they were Satan's spawn, and he has punished them.
Yeah. It's just, here's what I think. It's neither.
Me too. I think a virus got him.
Yeah, a virus that they could have protected themselves from. I believe we have another caller. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, Lynn.
Hi.
Hello.
Go ahead, please. Hi.
Hi, Lynn.
Yeah.
Hey, Lynn. Hi, Susan. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. There we go.
ahead.
I think we're good now.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, how is it that there haven't been arrests, given that these are just blatant threats of violence against school board officials and doctors and nurses and health administrators? I mean, it's simply out in the open now. I mean, this is another one of the indications that the Republican Party has simply, is embracing authoritarianism and mob rule and threats of violence when democracy doesn't go their way.
Yeah.
There's been that streak in them for quite some time now, but during the last 4 years, it's just been incubated and really come into full effect. Where now, if they don't win at the ballot box, they're simply, they're threatening physical harm to those who do. They simply won't accept any other result but their victory. And the other is that.
Yeah, can I just quote? I want to share a quote. Okay, this was said at a Republican meeting by a member of the U.S. Congress just a day ago. If our election system continues to be rigged and continues to be stolen, then it's going to lead to one place, and that's bloodshed. And I will tell you, as much as I am willing to defend our liberty at all costs, there's nothing that I would dread doing more than having to pick up arms against my fellow Americans. And the way that we can have recourse against that is if we all passionately demand that we have election security in all 50 states. He went on to call the people who have been arrested on January 6th political hostages. This is that.
So which GOP asshole was that? Oh, that was going to be my guess.
Madison North Carolina. He is. He is literally calling on his. At one point, somebody asked him, "When are we going to be called back to the Capitol?" And he said, "We're working on it."
Well, yeah.
What is
because,
that?
when you have a failed push, a failed insurgency because it was impromptu and poorly coordinated with very little pre-planning. But the leaders suffer minimal consequences. Then it becomes a dress rehearsal.
You're begging for more. That's right.
You're begging for more. I mean, Coughlin was going to be my first guess, but it could have been Matt Gaetz. It could have been Boebert. It could have been Marjorie Taylor Greene. It could have been Mo Brooks. It could have been Gohmert. It could have been Gozer. Yeah, it could be any number of them.
Yeah.
Openly. Then my other point. My other point in observing all this with these, frankly, raving imbeciles, ranting about vaccine conspiracies and how the deep state is preventing proven cheap cures such as hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. Are they aware that there are other nations in this world, that the other countries exist? They think this is I guess they believe the deep state is worldwide. That all these countries conspired to topple Trump, through these machinations.
They don't think. I don't know. I hear you.
I really am worried we're at a tipping point of some kind. I really am.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a feeling that, we will. I know
there's a bunch of people that are pushing us, that want us to be at a tipping point.
Yeah.
They're itching to pull out their guns and mow us all down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They do want it. So
yeah, they're the people. They're the people that they love America. They love America. They constantly tell us so, but they just don't like most Americans. I mean, they loathe liberals. They loathe environmentalists. They loathe feminists. They loathe LGBTQ people. They loathe most black and brown skinned people. They loathe most non-Christians, unless perhaps you're an Orthodox or a conservative Jew. They loathe atheists. They loathe agnostics. They loathe they loathe anyone outside their own little strata. But they love America.
I know. God bless them. It makes I tingle all over just thinking of them. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my calls are always so uplifting and positive.
Yeah, right. Well, what the hell. All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too. Goodbye. Speaking of, he mentioned ivermectin. I just wanted to say that an Ohio judge, get this, has ordered an Ohio hospital to treat a COVID patient with ivermectin.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, they have to refuse. They can't. They can't commit malpractice on a judge's order. They can't. I would refuse.
We'll see. They said the patient's wife brought the case after her husband was placed on a ventilator after spending 19 days hospitalized. And
she wants to kill him now.
No. She asked her doctor, an Ohio doctor who she knows has advocated for the use of ivermectin, to prescribe her husband the drug. And he did. But the hospital refused to administer it. So she then went to court, and the court ordered that he get the dose. He will start receiving 30 milligrams of ivermectin for 3 weeks.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I can't imagine which medical professional that knows that to be poppycock is going to agree to do that. Even if they are sheltered from liability for doing it, they are not sheltered from their own Hippocratic oath and their own ethics.
Well,
just because a judge orders you to kill a patient, you don't kill a patient.
They're not killing. My guess is ivermectin is a drug. It is prescribed for things, and they'll do it at a dosage that's not going to kill him. It might not help him, but whatever. It is an FDA approved drug for some things. It has not been approved for treatment of COVID. But doctors often use drugs.
Yeah, I know. But
so that's what's happening there.
Well,
I don't know. We have another call, or did I dream that? No, I think that's it, right? Hello? Anybody there?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, there is someone there. Hi.
Hi. It's Terry from Penn Hills.
Hi.
I have friends that go to Iceland for their vacation every year. And she sent me an article. Iceland has had 0 deaths from COVID over the past, 3 or 4 months. Over 90% of Iceland is vaccinated. And they went they were at a cafe and they said to a woman, "Are you vaccinated?" And she goes, "Of course." And the reporter says, What do you mean, of course? And she points to herself and says, "It's my civic duty." Yeah, and I got goosebumps because we don't live in a culture that has any civic duty. We live in a culture that's me, me, me.
Yeah.
and I'm ready to move to Iceland.
I don't know if they want you. Can you take up residence in Iceland? I think it's a difficult. I don't know.
I have no idea. I just know that I'm really hating the culture I live in right now.
Well, join the crowd. I agree with you. Or living amongst so many selfish fools.
Yes. But anyways, I just wanted. Oh, and another thing.
Yeah.
Wait, one more thing. A friend of mine also just sent me a note saying the ICU is overflowing with people who are not vaccinated, and they're not overflowing or even have anyone in there who is in ICU because of the reactions to the vaccine.
Well, we all know that, but then we're not living in La La Land. All right.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Unbelievable. Bye. Hey, Chuck writes, out here in the South Hills, specifically the West Jefferson Hills School District, anti-maskers have taken their fight to our local billboards. As you drive throughout our communities, there are electronic billboards, and the messages change almost daily. One message gives the name of our superintendent and claims he is the real virus. These billboard ads are not cheap. And now I'm seeing similar billboards pop up for the Baldwin-Whitehall School District. Sheer craziness. Yeah, it's unsettling to live amongst so many.
Well, and again, back from my decades-old experience, and I think it's true again. It's my superintendent, a wise man, always cautioned we on the school board who were being, berated and screamed at by what seemed to be very full houses of people going to school board meetings, that in fact it was just 100 people. And that 100 people can make a lot of noise and represent only 100 people.
Well, as somebody who has worked in, radio, I can tell you that is true. The loudest voices are the ones that are amplified. It doesn't mean they represent the most people.
Right.
In fact, they usually don't. The problem with our media is it is drawn.
It's the amplifier.
It amplifies and is drawn to the loudest voices. So and that's what Twitter does too. So we all do get a skewed vision of what's really reality. Oh God, what is reality? Although
my favorite is the anti-max, anti-vaccine nurses. I'm just thinking to myself, you need to be fired. You nurses who are just self-identified as incompetents.
Yeah.
I mean, who would want one of those people by their bedside? I want to know.
Well, as far as I know, the hospital, the UPMC, the big hospital here, has still not mandated their staff. Is that true? Anybody know that is true? Mandated their staff to get vaccinated?
Well, a lot of hospitals aren't because they're afraid that they'll just create a nursing shortage, and I just think that that's crazy. Okay, have a nursing shortage,
especially if those nurses are idiots.
Right. And infection vectors. I mean, please.
So, Paul Krugman had an interesting take today on how the right wing and those who take in their version of events, the lies, the crapola, are actually just have been groomed to do that. And he points out, this is interesting, and he's probably got something here. The people who, I never watch these shows, but their biggest advertisers are often supposedly natural supplements.
Yeah. And which are not regulated, and who knows what they are.
Right. That's right. Their biggest advertisers are often snake oil salesmen, and they make tons of money. What's his name? Jones. Alex Jones, InfoWars.
Right.
He's made most of his money peddling this snake oil.
Well, you know what the latest snake oil is? I'm going through mail on Mom's desk with her, and we have agreed that whenever she does pick up the house phone, and it's inevitably somebody asking for money over the phone, she says, "Just send me something." And so a few people do. Why? This real question: why on earth do volunteer firefighters need a political action committee? She got a request for funds from the Volunteer Firefighters of America PAC.
Well, because state laws impact what is considered, I guess, the qualifications for, or what.
I think PACs are just the latest way to raise tons of money that nobody looks at how you're using it. They pay themselves. And what are they going to do? Sit around and look at legislation? I mean, it's just bull. It's just bull. 9/10 of the mail that is received is from one kind or another of a political action committee. They are the latest snake oil. You send your money to them. You have no idea what they're doing with the money, where it's going to, which candidates they're supporting. You don't know nothing. But they're all busily running. This is how Trump's making all of his money.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, listen.
So this is my PSA to all of you people is to the extent that you want to give money to influence the political process, give directly to the candidates you want to support. You can support as many as you want, but please cut out as many of these opportunistic middle people as you can. They're just all in it, lining their pockets, every single damn one of them.
It's the American way. What are you doing, talking against the American way?
I mean, as long as we're talking about what disgusts us, because you can't tell, if you really want to do good with your few extra charitable dollars, you got to get through such a maze of crooks to get your dollar working hard. For example, the Red Cross, which it turns out it's like less than 30 cents on your dollar or something that you give to the Red Cross ever gets where it's going. They take out a ton for to run their own organization, and then to the extent that they're doing things, they simply give it to other organizations on the ground that then take out their administrative costs before it goes to anybody on the ground that you think you're helping.
All right. I can't dispute what you're saying. I'm aware that the Red Cross has come under fire.
They are not transparent. And that's what I'm talking about.
If everybody just go to an organization like Charity Navigator and check out what they say about the Red Cross, because they will show you how much of the money they have goes to promotion, to administration, to all of this, and how much gets to what you intended it for.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that in the case of the Red Cross, they misreport, because they'll tell you that they gave, X amount to housing, to directly on the ground to doing housing. But that's not what they're doing. They're giving it to organizations whose job it is to do that. So they're
subcontracting.
They're subcontracting, but that also increases the administrative costs that they aren't reporting out.
Well, I don't know enough to, join you in your anger or rebut you. I do know that I have not given to the Red Cross for some time because of things that I had read.
Right.
But I just want to get back to Krugman's idea in terms of the snake oil salesman and the right wing is that they're a match made in heaven. Because you have these, right wing fever swamps like InfoWars. And let's take Fox News' biggest show, Tucker Carlson, right? Who is his top advertiser? You wouldn't be surprised. My Pillow.
Yeah, My Pillow is what I was going to say, right?
My Pillow.
How does he have any money left to buy advertising? I'd like to know.
I don't know. I have no idea. Who are the next three biggest advertisers on Tucker Carlson?
Supplement.
They're all supplement companies, all of them. Because snake oil peddlers find consumers of right-wing news and lies a really perfect market. So you can see, Krugman says, how vaccination became such a flashpoint. Because, first of all, this right-wing crowd already has not trusted what mainstream medicine tells them. So they're always listening to the snake oil people. So you can see how they would be unsure about sticking an FDA-approved vaccine in their body, but have no problem putting a cow dewormer into their body, supposedly for the same purpose, because they've learned to trust these snake oil salesmen. They're more comfortable with it.
Right.
And also, if getting vaccinated is the priority of the president that you did not vote for and you think stole the election, and if you got vaccinated, it would help him look good, there's another reason you don't do it. So they're just primed to reject medical expertise and to believe in quacks. For heaven's sakes, they turned on Donald Trump himself when he said, you should get vaccinated. He got booed. Donald Trump got booed. You won't hear him say that again. The Republicans are just astonishingly great at creating monsters they can't control. They make deals with the devil thinking, well, they will control this.
Well, it's sort of like the negotiated surrender that, and I use negotiated in quotes, that Trump signed with the Taliban, leaving the Afghanistan government out, which they just don't pay any attention to.
Barbara just sent me this. It's got Lucy from Peanuts, and she's saying, although COVID-19 spreads mostly through the mouth and nose, scientists now conclude that the greatest risk actually comes from assholes.
I saw that.
Oh, God.
Well, there is something wonderful about the fact that no matter what, you can get a laugh out of anything.
I know. God, thank God.
Thank
Especially,
God.
dark humor in dark times. Kurt writes, there is yet another talk show radio host who has COVID. After insisting on his freedom to go unvaccinated and unmasked, he says, I only regret that I have but one life to give. Oh, come on. Kurt, will you stop this? You're like the Onion. And he does it. He says, and guy's name is Anti-Vaxa Nathan Hill. All right, stop it. But stop it. I gotta get this in because Bree sent me this unbelievable video of of people swimming in the sea, and they get lost. I don't stop it. I accept, even though I fuck you. Okay, I can't get through. I am not saying the F word as much today, even though I'm hearing it quite a bit. I am in a much better place, I assure you. Somewhere off the coast of England, people are, cavorting in the water. They're playing, and a dolphin joins them.
Yeah.
And the video is just amazing. The dolphin, and not to me, because, I had a similar experience. The dolphin is clearly playing with them. He's making his tail, splashing him. He's going like, and then diving, and then going around. He's having a ball. And the people are just freaking out. But it turns out, and this is always a story that wonderful and video that great, people who know dolphins say they know this dolphin. And this dolphin is a bit of a weirdo. I forget what they call him because I can't get at the story for some reason. This dolphin prefers humans to his own, and so he has left the pod. And there's a name for such dolphins, which is the name I can't think of. But so he's he's off by himself. He's a solitary dolphin, which is not normal. And he does look for people to play with. The problem is that a dolphin that's already done that is a dolphin that you don't know really what he's going to do next.
Right.
So I've gotten access. He's identified, biologists have identified this dolphin as a social solitary dolphin. And the fact is that they're concerned because he gets boisterous. He's having so much fun.
Yeah, he's going to hurt someone. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to hurt someone. And here's somebody who was watching this. They say after a little while, it became obvious that the dolphin's behavior was escalating and becoming more erratic. So we were very concerned that somebody could get injured. And they were telling people to leave the water. And people in boats were told to, avoid and maybe, whatever. But so here this poor dolphin, he's mixed up. He's screwed up.
Yeah.
But he wants to play.
Yeah.
And if you see this video, he's having so much fun. It's, where did I get this? If you want to look it up, it's from The Packet, which is it's in Cornwall. And, having had an experience with a dolphin, which was fun until it wasn't. Yeah. But it breaks my heart. It is the cutest. That dolphin is, it's like, dogs know how to play with us. We know how to play with dogs.
Right.
This was total interspecies fun, but it's so much bigger than the people. And it's a bottlenose dolphin.
Aww.
So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to say that if you look up the video, it's pretty astonishing. Anyway, I guess that's it.
Really?
Well, Sue, time flies when you're having fun. I don't know what to say.
Okay. All right. Well.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, I hope so. And give Mom a kiss.
I will. Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye. Bye. Bye, guys. And I'll be back tomorrow. I got nowhere else to be. It's pretty pathetic. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.